So cameras up here,
Cool.
but I'm looking at everything because I am just a sidekick for everyone that comes on, and many of you know that. So, hey, look, shed some light.
Cool.
You
So,
highlighted to me Mel Robbins. I think
yeah, I
you
was
picked
just
up
gonna
some
say
things
that. I
from.
was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna say Mel
Go ahead.
Robbins. I love it. Mel
By the
Robbins.
way, everybody, just so you know, everybody, this is going to happen a lot if we're together. I'm going to say something that she was about to say, and then she's going to do the same
We're
because
always in
she's. Yeah, I
synchronization.
don't know what that is. We end up doing that, but go right ahead.
Cool. So yeah, back in 2020 actually was when I found Mel Robbins. I've been following Mel Robbins since the whole motivation is BS thing. And at the time, like I was really all about wanting to share positivity and affirmations and like helping people just feel better in their lives because it seemed like everybody was miserable. And then I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything about becoming a public speaker or anything like that. But what happened for me was Mel Robbins kind of started this journey for me when she started talking about motivation isn't real, and then she came out with the 5 second rule, all those things. But more recently for me, I find it very interesting how in synchronization I am with Mel Robbins, kind of where she's at in her life. Because recently she mentioned, with all the things that are going on crazy in the world, that we can't forget to be kind, even when we are living in fear, when we're living in these moments when we're afraid of what's going on in our lives. And I really resonated with that, how, when we pause and we take a minute and we look around at the world around us, we communicate to people. And when we're talking about communication, we're talking about body language, we're talking about you expressing yourself in life, right? We communicate from a place of how we feel. And that's something that I am a specialist on, I guess you could say. This is what all my friends and all my people in my surroundings, my social media accounts, this is what people come to me for, is about communication and relationships. But Mel Robbins really hit it on the head that like we can't forget to be kind. We can't forget to be this energy of love when we're afraid and when we're going through fear. And that really set me back, like for the last 3 years of what I've been going through, because I've had to relearn how to communicate. I've had to upgrade my life in the sense of like how I communicate to people and how I express myself. And it started way back then when we met.
So now you had to upgrade.
Yeah.
What is it that you upgraded from? Briefly, if you could say, to give the audience and the viewers an idea.
My new partner likes to say that I lived under a rock, and I really, really relate to that.
uh,
Because
that's
my
good.
surroundings, my
Yeah.
environment was what I grew up in. It was my family. It was the very small network that I had of people who were all from the same background, had the same, way of speaking to each other, the same way of expressing themselves. That was my small network. And I had to upgrade out of that and expand my network. I had to expand how many people I was talking to, how many people, their lives are all so different. You have to upgrade your surroundings, your environment, what you're feeding yourself with as far as
Mm-hmm.
information, um, all the things that you absorb around you in life. That's what I had to upgrade, was what I was surrounded by, and I've done it several times since I met you, Paxton.
That's what my next thought is on this pilot show for you and your podcast,
Hmm.
upgrading with Amber, Legato, upgrading with Amber. Um, when it comes to how many times, when you were upgrading, did it seem like maybe you did it a few times and you were like, okay, I'm set? Or did you know that there would be this constant shifting of gears, as it were, as you started upgrading even
I
more?
I didn't know that part until this last time that I
Got it.
upgraded. That was
So,
when I was like, oh, light bulb.
okay. So you didn't know that until, so before it was like, hey, I just did this. My life should be better. Or
Um,
no?
no, I wouldn't say that. I would
Okay.
definitely say that it was more like old version of myself was looking to achieve something, because again, that's what I was
Uh,
taught, was like I had to
uh,
achieve this
yeah.
personality. I had to
Yeah. Yeah.
achieve who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
But then after this last time I upgraded out of a whole group of friends, out of a whole environment that I was
Wow.
really excited about, I was really passionate
Wow.
about. I wanted to pour myself into it, but it wasn't right for me anymore after I learned the lessons that I needed to learn from being in those environments. And that was when it finally settled in for me that like life isn't about achieving. It's not about trying to hit a goal or trying to hit a state of being in life. Like it's not all about having that house or having that car or having that job or that
Yeah.
title. It's about experiencing life and growing through the process. You're going to change all the way until the day you die, right? Like you're going to keep shedding those old layers of
Mhm.
yourself that you don't want to carry forward with you anymore. And I didn't learn that until this last time I
Wow.
upgraded, which is really
Wow.
crazy.
That is really okay. With the upgrading, you started to implement or find out about, correct me if I'm wrong, when it comes to communication and the relationships that you upgraded from. And did you examine a lot of dynamics when it came to communication and relationships and expressing for our needs? Did you dissect a lot of things to come to where you are right now?
I like the word dissect. I like that you use that. I recently was diagnosed with ADHD this year, and I've been
Hmm.
learning a lot about that in myself. Like, I'm not an
Right.
expert on ADHD, but like, I like to dissect things in general.
Yes, you do.
And the more, yes, I do.
Yes, you
The
do.
more that I have really gotten into my niche, which my niche is all about communication and relationships. But if you guys want more of that, like Venus and Mars through Mercury is where I'm
There
at
you
with that.
go.
That's when I get
That
into
is
like
your,
the
by the way, let me, my bad.
no,
Your
don't
YouTube channel, by the way, is, my
Venus and
bad.
Mars through Mercury.
All right,
And
sorry.
it's not just YouTube, it's TikTok, it's
Yeah. Okay.
Instagram, it's yeah, all the things. But I really dive into the science of like astrology because that is really fun for me, but that has
Hmm.
helped me dive into the basics of communication and how differently everybody communicates. So when I
Okay.
really started diving into all of those things is when I started recognizing the importance of how we understand how we communicate.
Oh,
Like,
I so
if
want
that
to
makes
dissect
sense.
everything you just said, but I know we don't
I
have
know.
all day because I got another. You did it again. You see, you
I'm
did this, and I want
sorry.
to just like now I want to dissect what you just said. Okay, so, but I have to just let's go back just a moment.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the relationships, the
Hmm.
communication, you said you
Hmm.
had to go back to basics. What are the basics then for somebody who's still looking for the
Seriously.
basics?
So, basics on like conveying your message across in
Okay.
a healthy way
Uh-huh.
where you're recognizing how somebody is receiving it. So, like, my parents, for instance, would just, throw things at us with words. They would throw their words at us
Mhm.
and they would just expect us to take it. Something my daughter's been saying, which I think she picked up somewhere else, is you get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
Now,
And
where would she possibly get that from?
it's definitely at school because I've never said that in
I
my
was
life.
gonna go
Because
like I've never heard you say it in three
that's
years.
something I was told when I was a kid was you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And I'm like, but that's not a healthy communication. That's not a partnership. That's not an ebb and flow with somebody. Scorpio moon, Leo rising. Hey, Tanya. They love it. Um,
So
that's a
when
deep
it
dive for later. Yes.
oh well, that's why you got wait. What's the YouTube channel again?
Venus and Mars through
Okay,
Mercury.
so when it comes to what your daughter said,
Hmm.
how did that affect you?
Oh, it's so triggering to hear those words from me. Like I even
Okay,
tell her, like, that's not how it works.
yeah,
It's not that you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And that's coming from my scapegoat role too, is like being somebody who was always blamed for everything in my family. Like
mm,
I don't agree with that terminology. I think that everyone should have an opportunity to share how they
yeah,
feel
yeah,
and have a safe space to
yeah,
be able to feel those
hmm,
feelings and be
yeah.
reciprocated and come to terms with we may not agree on something, but now I know your perspective and now you know my perspective and how do we move forward? And that's healthy communication. And I never learned that growing up.
That wasn't the environment you grew up in, is what you're
No,
saying.
not at
But
all.
you have upgraded and you provide a
Yes.
different environment for your daughter. How is that
And
working for you?
everyone
How is that
else.
working for
It's
you?
Well, and it's still a journey because I'm still shedding those old layers, and I've had to go
Okay.
through so much therapy and
Hmm.
had to find the right environments to put myself in so that I could communicate more healthily when I'm triggered or when I'm
Yeah.
angry. And that's a big thing that I like to talk about with people, and that's something that I want to talk about here today as well is how we communicate from how we feel. And so learning to communicate how I feel, but also allowing my daughter to communicate her feelings and holding space for
Hmm.
that, we have the
Hmm.
best relationship.
Hmm.
I love hearing randomly, "Mommy, I love you." And it's like a special, like I've done a lot of work to create the relationship I
Yeah.
have with my daughter. And learning that when she blows up, when she's angry, she feels safe to do so with me.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's really
Hmm.
incredible too, to
Yes.
be like, well, yeah,
Hmm.
she needs to feel those feelings, and I'm glad she does that with me. She trusts me enough to
Yeah.
allow her that space to feel those feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
When it comes to Mel Robbins, you learn something. Who else did you learn
Yes.
something from?
Man, Dr. Nicole LaPera is the holistic psychologist.
Hmm.
And when I first started my journey after you and I met, I think we took a break from each other for a while because
Hmm.
I moved out of my parents'
Hmm.
house. I packed my car up with my 4-year-old at
Yes,
the
you did.
time, traveled across the country,
Yeah.
traveled back. Like I did a lot of work trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life,
Yeah.
trying to figure out who I was going to be and how to let go of the past. And Dr. Nicole LaPera wrote a book called How to Do the Work, but most of the work that I've done with her, just like what she shares, is on Instagram, which I
Hmm.
really love. One of the things that she said is that self respect says, if I'm not comfortable with something, I'll let the person know even when it scares me. And that alone is a triggering statement for me because I was never
Hmm.
allowed to speak up for myself as a
Wow.
kid. Like if I spoke up for myself, that was me being rebellious. That was me
Hmm. Hmm.
being what's the word? I
Troublemaker?
can't think of
No,
it.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna say
trouble.
troublemaker. Yeah, but okay.
Disobedient. That was the word
Oh,
I was
there we
looking
go.
for.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
Disobedience.
Yeah.
And like following her for the last couple of years has been so helpful in the process of learning that my voice matters. How I feel matters. And if I don't speak up about something being uncomfortable, how is that person ever going to know that I'm uncomfortable? How is that person ever going to know what I need? And growing up in a family where, you're walking on eggshells all the time, you're afraid to tell your parents how you feel because
Hmm.
one, you're either going to get in trouble or they're
Hmm.
going to give you their opinion of why they think it's wrong.
Hmm.
And when you live in that environment for years, you guys, I just turned 34. Like I moved out of my parents' house at 32 years old. That's a long time to be brainwashed into believing that your voice doesn't matter, that you can't speak up for yourself, that you can't ask for your needs to be met, um, and believing that you're responsible for your parents' needs, or you're responsible for your
Hmm.
siblings' needs, or you're responsible for, whoever they put you in
Yeah.
charge of.
Right. Yeah.
They don't want to hear the truth, and I have something to say to that later. But yeah, so Dr. Nicole
Uh,
LaPera, though, she makes posts every day, like on the daily, that are just so inspiring to really stand up for
yeah.
and advocate for yourself and your needs. Another thing, so a big part of my journey is self-love, and learning how to love yourself. And even today, like communicating with yourself is something nobody practices because when we wake up in the morning, we think about our spouse, we think about our kids, we think about our job, we think about everything outside of ourselves and how we can show up for them outside, but we don't think about ourselves because we're not taught to think about ourselves. So one thing I love that LaPera says is to love yourself is to understand your needs and that they matter. And just like you would for your child, you would understand their needs and you would know that their needs matter. We
Hmm.
have to do that for ourselves too, because if we don't, we are loving and giving to people outside of us with an empty cup. We're not taking care of us. And so
Hmm.
we're overwhelmed, we're exhausted, we're angry, we're pent up inside, or we're dissociating, which I
Hmm.
didn't even know what that meant before I read the book, How to Do the Work. Dissociating is when you are here, but you're not here. You're not in your body. You're not feeling anything. You're numb essentially to life. And I didn't know that I had been doing that most of my life. And when I
Wow.
learned about it, I saw my daughter doing it at 4 years old
Wow.
because that's what she was learning from not only me, but also from my mom and both my sisters. Like we all dissociate because it's easier to be numb and to race through your day-to-day activities that are exhausting and hard to do than it is to be in your body while you're experiencing the pain of your past or the relationships you're living in. Like
Hmm.
it's hard to show up. Let's see. So the other thing I wanted to mention that I love that LaPera posted the other day is that relationships end because people don't talk. They assume, they react, but they don't actually have difficult conversations. So that's a really big thing for me this past year that I learned, and it's actually why I upgraded from my group of friends this it was literally a year ago that I was with this group of friends, and then I came out of it, I want to say right after the new year. And it was because I was ready to have difficult conversations with this group of friends I had been pouring into. And then when I had the difficult conversation, I watched how they reacted and how they showed up. And I realized that they were not people that I wanted to continue being invested in because of the way they reacted and how they communicated to me and how they treated my needs. And that is something that nobody's willing to do in this world right now that we all need to learn how to do. Like, we have to learn how to have difficult
Oh man.
conversations and
Yeah.
how to communicate our needs, but
Yeah.
also to have and hold respect for other people's needs. It's hard.
Everybody, you have no idea. The shows are live for a reason
Hmm.
because I can't fake my reactions on my face or what's happening inside of me as we're doing the show. So a lot of times people want to tell me like what she's saying right now before the show, and I say no, right, Amber? Anybody that's been on the show knows, in over 800 episodes, whatever. Don't tell me because I want to know in the moment. I like
Right.
living in the moment. And I
Hmm.
am so happy to hear you saying everything. I'm trying my best not to jump out of my chair because this is so amazing to hear you talking like this because don't tell me, Amber. I want to know during the show.
Yeah.
That is amazing, the upgrading that you've been doing and how you're
Thank you.
describing this.
Yeah.
Now, we got to save something for the episodes that are coming.
Right.
But when it comes to the relationships that you upgraded from, you said you were watching their what again?
Their reactions and how they communicated about like my needs.
How would you describe that for somebody that's going to embark on that or has experienced it? How would
Okay.
you put that in words? What that reaction was that made you go like, "Nah, this ain't for me. I'm out."
Okay, so
What was it?
one thing about like being in your body, and Tanya, you're talking about this being numb,
Yeah,
right?
Vietnam.
When
Yeah.
you're practicing being in your body, which I did that with this community, there was a lot of like sound healing, ecstatic dance, Reiki, like these are all spiritual practices to put you back into your body, right? Like, and when I say that, I mean like you can feel your body while you're standing in a room. A lot of people are so quick in their brains and up
Mm-hmm.
here in this area that they're
Mm-hmm.
not feeling their body. So when you're having an uncomfortable conversation with somebody, you're probably going to feel it right here in the pit of your belly.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to
Mm-hmm.
feel that tightness. And if you watch their body language, they're either going to be open and comfortable to receive you, even in your discomfort, or they're going to be, arms crossed, proud
Ah,
eyebrow,
got it. Got it.
are they open to receiving
Mm,
you? Are they here for you? Are they touching you? Are they asking, how
got
can
it.
we like bring this into a warm connection between
Okay.
you?
Got it.
Or are they, feeling attacked and feeling like
Mhm.
you're against them and feeling like this isn't
Judgmental. They
what
may
I
come across
want?
judgmental even towards you and condescending. I'm just
Um,
asking.
yeah, I
Not really.
mean,
Or,
it's like a long list of things. Everyone's
okay.
so
Okay.
different, everybody's got different reactions, but more than anything, do they see you as someone who's against them when you're just bringing up something that makes you uncomfortable? Like you're
Hmm.
just bringing this to the surface. And I've grown a lot to understand that using I statements is really important when you're having uncomfortable conversations. You never want to say, you did this, and I think you did it because of this, or I think that you are trying to tell me this. But really, it's like, I just want to say, like, this happened, and this is how I feel. that this happened. This is how I feel because I experienced this in my life and it makes me feel this way. So you're no longer like pointing fingers at them. And so I had to have those kinds of conversations. I was using I statements, and the responses that I got from the people in this group of friends was just like there was no empathy for how I was feeling, and it went directly back to them, and how when I was speaking up for how I felt, it made them feel something else,
Got
like
it.
they were being
Got it.
attacked or whatever. So
Got it.
yeah, so when you're looking to have healthy communication with people and you're advocating for yourself, you should be able to healthily say, such and such
Hmm.
happened. This is how I feel. This is how I'm working on myself because I'm feeling this way. And I'm asking, that we find a common ground, or I'm asking that, if this comes up again, can we go about it in this different direction? And the right people for you that are healthy for you are going to be able to communicate with you in a
Hmm.
way that flows easy, that makes you leave feeling better. It makes you
Hmm.
leave feeling like your relationship is stronger and more founded in love and gratitude for each other, rather than feeling like you're still walking on eggshells, or feeling like that you're not going to make it, or it's not going to work out, or maybe it will work out. Your
Hmm.
relationships shouldn't feel like maybe. They should feel solid. Like, yes, this is a person I want in my life.
Excellent. Excellent. You have, like usual, knocked it out the ballpark and educated a lot of people. But it is now time. All right, let's do one of these. I got stuff over here. Let's just do one of these. It is now time for you to share some of
Cool.
your personal thoughts or what people can expect from you in upcoming episodes. Any
Yeah.
thoughts? Any advice?
Absolutely. I think the best advice that I've gotten, that as I've been working through my anger and like my trigger responses and how I show up from an emotional response when I'm communicating, um, is something from responsive parenting, which we'll talk about another
Okay.
time. But
All right.
Jay Milburn said people who talk about feelings aren't too sensitive. It's actually those who can't stand to talk about feelings but have a much lower window of tolerance.
I love it.
Love it. Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. That's my first time
No.
hearing that. So that was like really cool. But go ahead. I love it though. Love it.
So I think like for advice, like know that it's okay to have uncomfortable
Yeah.
conversations.
That's
It's okay
right.
to
Yeah.
feel discomfort when you're
Yeah.
communicating. And if somebody blows up at you because they're having a difficult time having this conversation,
Uh-huh.
they don't know how to emotionally regulate and they're really triggered by that
Ah.
topic. And that's
Dude,
okay.
seriously, that like should be your first episode. Okay, can we
Yes.
make that? Can we make that happen? Can
Emotional
we'll work
emotional
on that?
regulation. Heck
Okay,
yeah. Let's
everybody,
do
everybody come back for that. But if you want to go, deeper and dive more into this, Amber, as I put her on the spot, is going to make some videos and
it.
make this stuff for you. She just goes, "Yeah, sure,
Yes.
Pax." And I'm glad we talked about that. She's going to make some content on her YouTube channel and everywhere else that she's located and can be found. You will get all.
Can't hear you. I can't I can't hear you, just so you know. Can't hear you. I can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we're
There you
gonna
are.
do.
Wait,
Everybody
nope.
can hear me.
Yeah,
Dun,
yeah,
dun,
yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Now
dun.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
everybody got me. Okay, I
Yes.
just want everybody to know that Amber's going to be back. She's going to be putting on some more information for everybody. Sorry for that technical difficulty. Thank you, everybody, for letting me know. that you couldn't hear me. We're going to be getting into another show in about an hour or so with Susie Miller Window. Will be here, the director of the channel, and everybody. There's shows coming tomorrow with Crystal Nicole Black. Of course, Julie Murphy will be here on Thursday, and right after her will be Susie with the Z podcast. Of course, we're looking forward to everybody getting an opportunity to come and see us on Friday. Hopefully, all of the Motley crew will be with me, and we got. Well, I can't tell you guys. I'm working on some stuff that's supposed to be a surprise for everybody, and hopefully it'll pan out. But if not, the Motley crew will be there. Thank you, everybody, for being here for Amber. Thank you, Warren. Check out Warren, his newsletter with Unlock, and a whole lot more, everybody. 31 minutes you endured second time being on YouTube with me. First time we were with Leon Walker and Sally and Darcy and everybody. That was in 2021, end of 20. When we first got started on YouTube, by the way. And now you're here now, and hopefully you'll be able to stay.
To Instagram days.
Yeah, you're the only one on the channel. Yeah, you're the original OG. Crystal Nicole Black was holding on to that position, and now you kind of like. I'm gonna have to put both of you on. She is looking forward to doing a show with you. By the way, I think she checked you out already. So thank you very much, Lady T. Yes, looking forward to your first episode and everything. I am so happy to hear these things from you. I really am. I'm looking forward to what you're going to do. Everybody, we love each and every one of you. There's no music on the way out on these shows. So we're waving at you, and we're out of here. See you guys later. Bye.